Welcome to Patton's Picks and Tales. I'm Diana Patton, and this is where I share the children's books I've written and made pictures for.
Wait, I'm here.
Why, Charlemagne the Goldfish, what are you doing
if
here?
If you're going to read books, I think the first book should be about goldfish. Goldfish are very, very special, don't you think?
Listen, I'm with you, Charlemagne. I think goldfish are really special. In fact, I have a book about you right here. Charlemagne to the Rescue.
Hello, you're holding the book Charlemagne to the Rescue. Let's read it together. There's Charlemagne the orange goldfish right on the cover. Now open up the book and you'll see a picture of me, Charlemagne the goldfish. That's right, and we'll have to turn the...
No, you were about to say turn the page.
Yes, I was.
Well, you know, we're in the water, we fishes, and there's three of us, me, an orange goldfish, and Carlo, a big goldfish with 3 red spots over his eyes, and Susie Q, a sort of pinkish goldfish. But when you say turn the page, I think because we're in the water, it should sound like this.
So to turn the page, that sound will be...
Yeah, let's start now.
And here you see a picture of 2 fishes, Tangy and Callie. They were my fishes, and they sort of started this all.
But the book is really about me, so...
Swish! The net moved fast. Charlemagne quickly swam behind a plant to hide.
Swimmy's caught,
Charlemagne thought.
Another friend in the net, gone forever.
I'll miss the big fellow, said Carlo.
Oh my,
said Susie Q.
The net is the fastest thing in the water. I think it can catch any of us. Poor Swimmy. We can't play tag with him any more,
said Charlemagne. The net hung near the aquarium. It was big enough to catch a fish. The fish did not like the net, but they were curious about the people. So curious, in fact, that they often forgot the net and swam close to the glass. Big mistake. Those fish were the ones the net caught. Once a fish was caught in the net, Charlemagne never saw that fish again. The kind woman in the pet shop, who fed all the fish, had looked at Charlemagne one day and said, "You are such a bright golden orange fish. You remind me of crowns and brave kings. I'm naming you Charlemagne, for there was once a good King Charlemagne." Charlemagne swished his tail fins from side to side.
I am named after a brave king, he thought proudly.
But Charlemagne didn't feel brave when the net was around. Even though he was curious about the people who came to the pet shop, every time someone came up to his tank, Charlemagne hid. Charlemagne wished he were brave and didn't hide from the people. He wished he could live up to his kingly name.
The only fish more afraid than I am is my good friend Susie Q Goldfish. Susie Q is shy and cautious, Charlemagne told his friend Carlo. Carlo was one of the goldfish who always swam up to see the people.
"Susie Q's a scaredy cat, but she is pretty," said Carlo. One day a boy came to the pet shop and put his face really close to their aquarium glass. "I like the boy's hair and his bright blue eyes. I'm going to swim up and do tricks for him," Carlo told Charlemagne.
Carlo, watch out! You'd better not get too close to the glass,
Charlemagne warned, peering out from behind an arrow plant. Too late! Carlo was caught. Suddenly Charlemagne forgot he was afraid of the net.
"I'll save you, Carlo!"
he shouted. Charlemagne swam over and bit the net hard. This did not help at all. The next thing Charlemagne knew, another net had grabbed him.
"Ouch!"
exclaimed Charlemagne.
"This net is scratchy, and it's hard to breathe out of the water."
Charlemagne could see Susie Q. She looked scared. He saw her start to swim to her favorite hiding place. Another net was going towards poor Susie Q. Charlemagne shouted to her,
"Hide, Susie Q! Hide!"
Suddenly Susie Q turned.
"Charlemagne, I want to be with you and Carlo. I don't want to be here without you, so I'm coming too," she said.
Susie Q jumped right into the net.
"Hi, Susie Q," said Charlemagne. "We are in a strange aquarium. It is rather wiggly."
"I do not like this small wiggly aquarium," said Carlo. "It moves when I move."
"Listen, if we three stay close together and we stay still, it doesn't move," said Charlemagne.
The next thing the scared fish knew, the boy was carrying them out the front door of the pet shop and into a strange thing they would later find out was a car.
"It's kind of blurry out there," said Susie Q.
"We're moving so fast, I'm not sure what I can see," said Carlo. "It's scary."
"Don't worry," said Charlemagne. "I'll protect you. We're together and we'll be all right. We've never been outside the pet shop before. Look out the window. See all the interesting shapes and pretty colors."
The fish were so curious about their new world, no one realized what was happening until suddenly, one by one, Charlemagne, Susie Q, and Carlo were poured into a large new aquarium. "I'm scared," said Carlo.
"I'm very scared," said Susie Q. "What is that big thing?" "It's a decoration, like the plastic shells and pretend plants back at the pet shop. Nothing to worry about," Charlemagne said as he pushed the big thing over. Charlemagne continued, "This place is big. It is much bigger than our aquarium in the pet shop. We have clean water and lots of plants, real ones, not plastic. We are the only fish here, so we don't have to rush after the food flakes. Best of all, we are all together. How great is this?" Charlemagne turned to Susie Q and Carlo.
and smiled as only a goldfish can smile. "There are lots of air bubbles, and the water does feel good," Carlo said. He jumped up into the air. "There is more room for us here, Carlo," said Charlemagne. "Yes," said Carlo. "I have lots of room to do tricks."
The pretty plants feel different, softer, said Susie Q.
"There is lots of good gravel beneath us," said Charlemagne.
"We can push the gravel about," said Susie Q. "And there are colored rocks. Besides, you are both with me."
"This is a new home for us. It is a different home, but it looks like a good home for us," said Charlemagne.
"Oh, Charlemagne, I think you are right. Maybe new can be better. You are so smart and brave,"
said Susie Q, and she smiled at Charlemagne as only a goldfish can smile. "Whoa, Charlemagne," said Carlo. "You're right. This new home is nice." Charlemagne thought, "This is what it's like to be a brave leader, a good king. I'm helping my friends, and my friends are happy." Charlemagne smiled as only a goldfish can smile.
And then we come to this page, and it says Goldfish Care and Feeding. This is a special page that tells how you can care about us and the importance of clean water, for example, because water for us is like air for you, and it needs to be clean and fresh. And it talks about how to feed us and not feed us too much, and how we like things beside fish flakes, like we like worm cubes and we like peas. It tells a whole lot of things about how to take care of your goldfish. Look at the next page. It says Charlemagne to the rescue. Let's talk about it. And maybe you want to talk about some of these things with friends or an adult. And the very last page has a picture of Diana Patton, who wrote down our story and did the pictures for our story. But it's all about us.
Yeah, and we had a lot of adventures, and we'll have more adventures in another book.
Yes, because a lot of things happen to us. We do a lot.
We sure do, and we're sure glad you were listening to us and maybe talking with us.
I like that book, and maybe you do too. If you want to buy one of my books, just go to my website for an autographed book, www.charlemagnethefish.com. Plus, there's lots of free games and pictures for you.
And for more information and pictures, please go to www.pattonpicsandtales.com.